So let's first, I guess, just to understand how, because it is important so you can find the best price, how the electricity price, how the electricity market actually works. So there's really three main players, okay, as you can see here, and there's the generator, so those are basically the power stations, the guys that make the electricity, okay, as you can see, there's coal, wind, solar, whatever, so they make the electricity, okay? Once they make the electricity, they need to send it via the poles and wires to where it's consumed, and that's done by a different company, that's done by the distributors. Now in Southeast Queensland, it's a company called Energex. So this is one company that is government owned, and they basically send the electricity from where it's consumed to where it's being used, okay? Now the retailers are basically, they buy the electricity at wholesale price from Energex in this particular case, and then they sell it to us, like the households, okay? We are the consumers, we're the customers. And I guess what you need to understand that, like, being an electricity retailer is a pretty good deal because you actually don't have to do much. Like, you actually don't have to produce anything. All they do is basically buy and sell. So they buy from Energex, put whatever, profit they want to make out of it, and then sell it again to you. That's all they do. So basically, the only thing they have to do is print out a bill and send it to you. That's all the work they have to do as a company, which is a pretty sweet deal to be in. Okay, so where you come in basically is where you basically connect to the electricity system is by your retailer. And what you need to understand is in Southeast Queensland and in many other parts of Australia, you can choose the company. So you don't have to be with the same company, and every company has a different price. Okay? And that's what we're going to talk about next. Okay, so this is how the pricing works. Okay, so there's different tariffs, like it might get a bit more complicated if you also have like solar panels on your roof, But the most simple thing is basically you have usage charges and supply charges. Now usage charges is you actually pay for the electricity that you use, and it's measured in cents per kilowatt hour. So kilowatt hour is the amount of electricity that you use, and then for each measurement unit you pay a certain amount in cents per kilowatt, okay? So that will obviously depend, the more you use, okay, the more you pay. Okay, the more kilowatt hours you use, the more you pay. With the supply charge, it's like a fixed charge. So basically you pay just for having the electricity connected to your house. So even if you're overseas, everything is disconnected, you're not there, you'd still pay the same amount. It doesn't matter if you use a lot or you use a little, the supply charge is always the same because it's a fixed amount per day.
I'm just going to jump in here quickly. Feel free to write down what those refer to, because Michael's going to challenge you guys at the end. Hi, I'm Grant.
Sorry, I'm just like...
Yep, that's right. Haven't had you in before. Well, so feel free to do these because Michael's going to throw out a challenge at the end. Thought I'd just let you guys know to go home and compare with your parents.
Yeah, your parents will be very impressed if you do that.
And they probably have no idea what this means, and they probably just chose whoever was easy, I guess. A lot of times. Depends, I mean, everyone's different. But if you can understand the difference between these two, this will help you, and Michael will cover it in more depth, but it's going to help you with this challenge at the end, which is going to be to find them a better deal and get paid for it, basically. So if you can understand what these two are, it'll help you understand what you're looking for. And just in general life, when you're out on your own, to be like, okay, that's what this means. But it is pretty straightforward. Yeah, you've got usage, pay for what you use, supply, the privilege of having power, essentially.
Now what you need to understand is really between the two of these, in the vast majority of cases, what matters is the usage charge. Okay, because this is where the big savings come, because this is the payment that you pay for what you actually use. Alright? This you're gonna pay that if you use a lot, if you use a little, if you don't use anything at all, you're gonna still pay that. Here, okay, especially if you use a lot of electricity, if you can save on this, or if you can find a lower number for this, you can save a lot of money. Okay? Alright, so how is the electricity price decided? So that changed quite a lot. So up until 2016, basically there is still a government authority called the Queensland Competition Authority. And what they would do, they would decide the maximum price that those retailers can charge the consumers. So they would say, okay, this is the most you can charge. You cannot charge more than that. If you want to charge less than that, be my guest, all right? Now, on July 1st, 2016, that authority doesn't play a part at all. So there's been what's called full deregulation. So it's basically like, you go to the supermarket, they can charge you whatever they want for what they sell. The same for electricity. So there is no rules, there's no upper or lower limit. Each retailer, each company that sends you a bill, they can do whatever they want as far as the price. So it becomes even more important to find the cheapest price, because some of them, as you will see, they can be pretty aggressive trying to compete on the market. So you need to understand that now there is no regulation at all, and basically what you pay, okay, depends on how good you are at finding the cheapest price. Now, what that also means, and that I should probably point to the last point here, okay? So you can actually, so there are the publicly advertised prices, okay? But you know how, you can sometimes in the market, you can say, oh, give me a better deal, or give me your best price, or something like that. So you can do that with electricity as well. And that can be like significant savings. So those companies, they might not advertise that they have it, but if you come to them and say, okay, well, company A is willing to give me this price. Are you willing to give me a better price if I stay with you? All right? And they say, yeah, all right, we'll give you that, but this is like a secret price.
I want a better deal.
It's like with anything, you need to understand that for most of these companies, and it's not just electricity, it's the same for mobile or pretty much any mortgages, anything like that, it's more expensive for the company to get a new customer than keep the existing customer. Because if you leave and go somewhere else, they need to advertise, they need to promote themselves to get a new customer. If you're already with them, it's always cheaper for them to keep you than find someone else if you go. Okay, so that gives you a very good position of strength where you can basically negotiate. Okay, so now we go into how the discounting on electricity works, and that is really pretty much the only trick with electricity prices. Once you understand how that works and what is like the marketing trick the electricity company does, okay, you can easily find the cheapest price. And this is a mistake that, I would say 95% of adults make because they don't understand how it works. Okay, so most electricity companies, the way they will do it, they will tell you, okay, this is our prices. If you pay on time, we'll give you a certain percentage discount. Okay, as you can see here, in this particular example, it's 25% off. Now, they can say, oh, we'll give you the discount just on the usage charges, okay, which is the cents per kilowatt hour, like the thing that is important. Or we'll give you a discount on both the usage and the supply charges, which is the cents per day, the fixed charge that you pay no matter what. Then they'll say, okay, here are prices. If you pay on time, we'll give you a certain percentage discount on that. Okay? Now, and as you'll see soon, okay, what people don't understand, because they think that electricity prices are decided by the government, so everyone has like the same prices, and the only difference is how much you get, how much discount you get from electricity company. And that's not true, because now there are no rules and there are basically no set price from the government, so every electricity company will have different base rates, what's called base rates. So before they give you the discount, they say, okay, this is our normal prices, and if you pay on time, we'll give you a certain discount on our normal prices. And each electricity company has different normal prices, so they're different. Okay? So where does it come into play? So here's an example. Okay? Here you have two offers. Okay? Offer number one, as you can see here, they say, okay, we'll give you 27% discount on both usage and supply. So the cents per kilowatt and the cent per day. Or this company and say, oh, we'll give you 25% discount, but we'll only give that on the usage charges, the cent per kilowatt hour. So now you have these two offers. So now what do you think is the better deal? Which one?
First one?
Why do you think the first one? Yeah, sure.
I would say that with your usage charges,
Uh-huh.
they're going to fluctuate, so you might not use as much, so your discount may be less sometimes. Whereas that one, it's also in the supply charges, which don't change.
That's a good point. That's a good point. But what you have to understand that the supply charge in the grand scheme of things, I mean, it's nothing. Okay, I mean, we're talking about 126 cents per day, so that's $1.26. And no matter what, if you have 5 washing machines, 10 fridges, and you charge your Tesla electric car, from the grid as well, you still pay $1.26. But here,
I'm impressed if you haven't tasted the power, by the way.
yeah, but here, as you can see, this is where the price is. This is per kilowatt hour. So the more you use, the more you pay. Okay, you make a good point, and a lot of people make that mistake. Okay, and people think, oh, this is again, I don't want to reveal the answer yet, but this looks good because it's higher discount. It's on both usage and supply charges, and this is only 25, and it's only on usage charges.
So
Power bill, sorry, when you have power bill, does it say how many kilowatts you use?
Absolutely.
Oh, really?
Absolutely, you can see that.
Oh, it's like
So usually you get, in most cases, you get a bill once every 3 months, okay? And that's when they're gonna tell you, okay, this was the meter read last bill, this is the meter read for this bill, this is the difference, this is how much you use. So they definitely tell you that. Some companies, they send you a bill every month because they do like a bill rounding, so you pay like a deposit towards your electricity, so you don't have a big bill after 3 months. So they won't say that in the monthly bills, but every 3 months you will get that, definitely. But I mean, when it comes to usage, it really depends, okay? If you have, like, if your stove, for example, is electric or gas, okay? It depends on, if you have a bar fridge, it depends on, obviously, the size of your house, how many people living in the house, so it can vary a lot. It also depends if you have solar panels, okay? Obviously, if you have solar panels, then you pay a lot less because you use your own electricity.
the two things essentially that you're really wanting to look at here is what is the cost of usage and the cost of that supply charge, which is fixed. But if you're going to be using, say, 1,000 kilowatts, so that's to work it out basically, you do 1,000, multiply that by 30.165 cents, or the other one is 26. You can kind of see the difference already, and it's
basically, to make it really, really simple,
check on that.
in the grand scheme of things, the supply charge is pocket change. Whether you're gonna pay $1 a day or $1.20 a day, I mean, think about it, 20 cents over a year, how much is that? That's nothing, So, the big bucks are here, okay? I guess, to give you a hint, this is where it really comes into play. This is a nice bonus, and if you're like a very low user of electricity, say you're out of the house for like half of the year because say you're overseas or something like that, maybe this will become more important, but for 95% of people, this is pocket change. If you save 20 cents a day or nothing, doesn't really matter. Okay, so this is what's important, all right? So what I would always encourage you, because there will be definitely the case for all of you, this is what matters. Okay, the usage charges is what matters, and that's what you should be looking at. And this is basically the only marketing trick that the electricity companies do. They basically try and lure you with this thing. That's the only game. It's a one-trick pony. Once you understand how that works, that's it, you're good. It's as simple as that. Like, this is the only thing they do, and the reason why they do it is it's extremely effective, and 95% of the people fall for it. They get confused because they say, percentages and what's going on and stuff like that, and they go just look at these numbers. Okay? So now let's have a look at the answer and you'll understand. Okay? So again, that's a very simple calculation. Okay? So as you can see, these are the base rates. Okay? This is the percentage discount. Okay? And this is obviously the discount amount, and this is how much it is after the discount. Okay? So the first company was giving us 27% of both, but the usage rates are 4 cents higher. Okay? This one is giving us 25% discount and only on usage, not on supply. Okay? So as you can see here, they end up being cheaper. Okay? So yeah, the usage charges the supply charges are slightly more expensive, okay, than company A, but we're talking about what, 7 cents a day?
So
who cares?
To put that into perspective, 7 cents per day, and the difference you're paying there is about 3 cents per kilowatt. Considering we're suggesting you might use 500 kilowatts per
day
versus 3 cents per day over 30 days, 500 kilowatts.
So this 3 cent difference doesn't seem like much, but if you multiply by, say, 500 in a day or whatever, 100,000 in a year, it starts right up. Okay, so that's where it becomes important. Okay, whereas this is still 7 cents a day. Multiplied by 300, I mean, what are we talking about? $2. So it doesn't really matter. Okay, and that is the mistake that a lot of people make. So that's what you need to remember. So don't be confused just by the higher discount. So some companies say, that company gives you 25% discount, I'll give you 30. And say, yeah, well, that's a great deal. Well, 30 of what? 30% of what? Okay? Each one has a different base rate. So without actually comparing the normal rate, so the base rate, the discount by itself is completely meaningless. And you'll say, like I see every day, like in various Facebook groups, some people say, oh, I got 35% discount, I got 40 discount, yeah, but they increase your prices by 25%, and then they give you 40% discount. So, you know, so that's what you need. That's really the only trick that you need to understand. Once you understand that, that's it, and you pretty much ahead of, as I said, 95% of the Australian population. So, you know, I would bet that most of your parents don't know that. So okay, so how would you compare? So there are some things in Australia that are pretty hard to compare, but electricity is actually pretty good. So electricity, you have a government website, okay? It's energymadeeasy.gov.au, okay? And basically, Victoria has its own website, but for Queensland, we use this one. Okay, and this is the best place to compare because it has all the information. So a lot of comparison sites, you need to understand they're a business, okay? So they will only have on their website the companies that pay them to be on their website. So if you go on something like iSelect, for example, you wouldn't have all the companies, because if I'm a company that offers really low rates and I don't have enough, like, you know, profit to pay iSelect to be on their website, I won't be on their website and you wouldn't know about it, okay? Whereas this is obviously a government website, you don't need to pay to be on it, okay? So everyone is on it. The only qualification I would say, and the only exception, is if you have any special deal, any secret deal, you wouldn't be on that website. So the companies only put their normal deals that are publicly available that you can find on their website that basically you don't have to haggle for. So everything, all those plans of all the companies that operate in Queensland, they will be on that website. And basically if you go, this is how it looks like. It's pretty straightforward.
Did you guys make note of that site as well?
Yeah, I'll show it again later, but it's just energymadeeasy.gov.au. Okay, this is your secret weapon essentially. And it's free to use and it's pretty good. I have to say the Victorian one is even better, but this is pretty good too. And basically this is how it looks like. So when you start to compare, it'll ask you, like, you know, what is your postcode, because it needs to know what electricity companies are available for you, whether you own small business, whether you need electricity, gas, or both. Now, okay, so here, this is the only thing that, like, you know, maybe I haven't covered yet, so I'll cover it. So every house will have a different what's called tariff, okay? So a single tariff, a single rate, as the name suggests, is basically you just have a single supply charge, okay, and a single usage charge and a single supply charge, and that is it. That's pretty simple. Okay, it's usually what's called, if you want to look it up on your bill, it's what's called tariff 11. Okay, that's the name of it. Now, if you also have, for a lot of houses, if you have a hot water system, or you have like a pool heater or something like that, then you would have a separate tariff just for that. Okay, which is like a lower price. They give you a lower price for water heating and for heating your pool, okay? So that would be like, the number of the tariff will depend, but basically you will have, instead of having a usage charge and a supply charge, you will have usage charge A, usage charge B, and supply charge. You might even have usage charge C, depending on your setup.
Just make it nice and easy for you guys.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. I mean, it works exactly the same, because all the companies will be, like, you know, if you have 3 lines for usage charge on your bill, all the companies in their bill will have 3 usage charges. The only thing that will be different is the prices. It doesn't really matter. And if they give you, say they give you a 25% discount of your usage charges, it applies to all the 3. Okay, so you will get the discount on all those 3. If you have 1, 2, 3, doesn't matter. So that's the only thing that you need to use, or that you need to understand. Time of use, it's not really that common in Queensland, but it's pretty common in Victoria, for example. So if you have a smart meter, so a person doesn't actually come and read your meter, they read it remotely, you know, via the internet. So that meter basically charges you different prices for, depending on what time of the day it is. So for example, at night it'll be a lot cheaper, okay, than what it is in the evening when everyone is using it. So, you know, if you have something like that, then maybe you'll see your parents use the washing machine or the dryer at night because the electricity is cheaper. That will be something like time of use. But if you get confused, you just click on I'm not sure, and it will basically help you choose. Or alternatively, instead of that, you just click on the single rate, because if you find the cheapest price on the single rate, you probably save. Okay? Now, do you have control load? So that's again another thing. So if you have a hot water system that runs on electricity, or if you have a pool heater, then you probably will have a controlled load. So it's just one of those lines. So you have usage charge A and usage charge B. Usage charge B will be what's called a controlled load. That's all there is. Okay? And okay, so what you ask, if you get information of how much you've actually used, yes, you get that. All you have to do is get the latest bill, and if your parents don't have that, most companies now have it on their website online, so you can download it, no problem. All right. So do you have, and that really is highly recommended because that will actually give you your specific numbers and will make the comparison more meaningful. We'll say, okay, so if you switch from this company to this company, you can save $100 a year because it will be based on your specific numbers. Okay? So here you have an option, okay, to enter the last bill. You can enter up to 4 bills, okay? The only thing that you need to make sure is that they're consecutive, so they're like one after the other. So the latest one first, the one before that after that, etc., etc. And basically all you have to do is put the start date and end date, and then how much did you use. Now here, because I chose a single rate, you can see that it only has the standard, peak anytime. If you use time of day, then you will have peak, and you will have off peak. So basically you'll have just another box here. And again, you'll see it on your bill, so you will know that you have that. Okay? And after that, you basically get the result. And you'll see, like, you can filter it by overall price, and it will tell you what is the cheapest price. Okay?
Sometimes these bills can look really confusing. So if you wanted to use that and just call your energy company, be like, how much did I use on this? How much did I use on that? Have them on the phone while you're literally looking up to get a better deal than what they're offering.
Absolutely. They have to tell you by law.
So,
It's like, they have to. Okay?
It's it, because they can't, yeah, when you're reading it, it's got lots of different things on there, and they do that obviously to confuse you.
Especially if you have, especially if you have multiple tariffs, so you have like a different price for your hot water system or for your pool, or if you have solar panels, then it gets even more confusing because if you have solar panels, maybe you have what's called a feed-in tariff. So basically, with solar panels, you have an option. You put solar panels on your roof to make electricity, and if you don't use all the electricity, okay, so say for example, most people are not at home during the day when the electricity is made from the sun. So you have an option, instead of like just letting it go to waste, okay, you have an option to basically sell it back to the government or sell it back to the electricity grid. And that's what's called the feed-in tariff. So you know how you have the usage charge where it's cents per kilowatt hour? So a feed-in tariff works exactly the same. It's cents per kilowatt hour, but you get paid that. Okay, but obviously it's a lot less. So if your usage charge says 99 cents, the feed-in tariff, if you're lucky, maybe 18 cents per kilowatt hour. So yeah, it's definitely a lot less than what you pay. So you don't get no nearly as much as when you sell than when you buy. So basically here, find the cheapest price, okay, and remember that you need, don't just look at the percentages because you will get confused, and most people get confused because it's percentage of what those percentages apply for, okay? And basically, this is the website, very simple, energymadeeasy.gov.au. And this is the challenge, okay, that Grant mentioned previously. So as I said, 95, and that's been proven in government surveys, 95% of Australians don't understand how it works. They don't. And things like health insurance, for example, are indeed very complicated. Mortgages are very complicated. Investments are very complicated. But electricity is actually very, very easy. Okay, once you understand this thing that I showed you, that's it. That's all you need to know. And the only thing you care about is the price. You don't care about anything else. So it's very, very easy to compare. So now that you know how to do that, okay, here's a challenge, and we have kind of a service that does that, so this is a variation on that. So you go to your parents and you say, Mom and Dad, all right, well, how much are you paying now for electricity? Can I have a look at your bill? And then you can say, well, I learned today how to find you a better price. And then you go to Energy Made Easy, you punch in the numbers, and you see you can find a better deal, and you can negotiate with them and say, oh, well, I saved you $100 in the first year, maybe, give me $50 as an allowance because you're still better off. For them it's a great deal because they will be paying $100 more every year. Now they're only paying they're paying $50 less in the first year and $100 in the second year. So it's a great deal.
And it would be likely that you would save them $100 in a quarter. Which is
quite possible.
So you could potentially be saving them hundreds, not just 100. So if
I
you
would say
negotiate 50%.
if you have a pool or an electric hot water system, it could be $100 a month. That's $1,200. That's $600. Nice little pocket money for you, right? I'm not sure you can find something to do with that.
But don't tell them how much it might save them.
Yeah.
Negotiate first.
Yeah, exactly. And they say, oh, you know what, actually I can save you $1,200 a year. Oh, wow. Yeah, but you know.
And you've got a government site to back it up. You're like, this isn't just me telling you I want $600.
Yeah, you can show them, you can actually show them the table. Well, here is what the savings are.
I'll save you money on the electricity I use if you give me half the
Yeah, pretty much. So yeah, I mean that's why I wanted to start with electricity, like, you know, for this session, because it is all over the news and people think it's overly complicated and nobody ever, like, you know, compares anything and they don't even know where to go to look for things, but it's actually very easy. And here in Southeast Queensland, we're actually lucky because people that live in other parts of Queensland don't get a choice. So not everyone gets a choice. So people that live outside Southeast Queensland, they have one option and they can't basically negotiate prices. Okay, I mean, you know, I used to live in Perth, WA, the whole state, no options. You have just one government company and they basically sell to everyone. That's pretty much it. Any questions?
I do.
Yeah.
Someone who pays the electricity. I obviously live in southeast Queensland and I don't have any options because I live in a building where we are forced, as part of our lease agreements, to sign up with one particular supplier.
Yep.
What potential negotiation can I put in place to
So you live in like a unit complex?
high rise?
A high rise, yeah, and that's so it's quite common in a high rise.
Yeah.
And basically the strata they negotiate, they buy the electricity.
Yeah.
So for you actually don't have a choice. That's the bad news. That's the bad news.
Yeah.
So you're
But the
like,
good
listen,
news-
don't move into a complex.
No, not necessarily. Not necessarily, because it's quite possible that you're actually paying less
I am.
than any of the parents here. Because when the body corporate buys electricity in your building, they don't go to any of those companies.
Yeah.
They go to Energex directly
Yeah.
because they buy wholesale. In order to be able to buy wholesale, you need to buy a minimum amount of electricity every month. And as a household, you just can't buy that enough. Like even if you have 20 people living there, you just can't buy the minimum amount required in order to get the wholesale prices. So Energex will come to you and say, oh, you want to buy from us? Well, the minimum you have to buy is this amount of kilowatt hours every month. Oh, you can't do it? Well, go and deal with the retailer. We're not interested. So your body corporate buys wholesale.